Hello everybody, and welcome to a list of summer book recommendations. These are books that I think either feel like summer or that I think you should read in the summer. Some of them are set in the summer, some of them aren't. I've got a bunch of different genres lined up for you, so whether you like literary fiction or romance, you'll probably be able to find something. I also have a bunch of different paced books, so if you're in a reading slump, some of these may be able to get you out of it. Starting off with a book I actually read for the first time in middle school, and I'm not just recommending this because it has summer in the title, but it's called The Summer List by Amy Mason Doan. I remember reading this in middle school. It's a coming of age story about Laura and Casey, and they grew up together, inseparable, two best friends. Then something happens in their childhood where Laura has to leave. She flees the little town in California that they grew up in, and the book then goes on to follow Laura coming back because Casey's mother set up a scavenger hunt for them, which they used to do as kids, and it's about friendship and memory and betrayal. When Laura comes back to do the scavenger hunt, they have to confront things from their past, why she left. Having read this in middle school, I know that it had to have kept my little brain entertained, but I also think that I would really enjoy this now, especially because I need to stop waving the book around. I really think I would still enjoy this book now, especially because I am more in my literary fiction reading journey, and I've been reading a lot of contemporary fiction that touches on the same topics of like female friendships and stuff like that. So I think this one, especially because it is set in the summer, it would just be a really cute summer read. Next, we have a romance book that also has summer in the title, but I promise it's the last one like that. It's Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. You've probably heard about this book, but I'm going to talk about it anyways. This one for sure will get you out of a reading slump. It is fast-paced, it's a rom-com, but it still has some deeper elements that sometimes rom-coms don't really get into. It's about Emma and Justin, and they have this Reddit meet cute where they bond over the fact that everybody they date ends up breaking up with them and then finding their forever person. They end up living near each other during the summer when Emma, did I say it was Emma? Yeah, when Emma takes a job in Minnesota, I think it is. She's a travel nurse, so she and her friend take a job in Minnesota where Justin lives. The book is about their relationship, obviously, and how they end up together, but it's also about autonomy. I really loved how Abby Jimenez was able to write the characters in a way where they each have their own struggles to deal with, and how they each have to confront past traumas and grow into the better version of themselves before they can ever actually come into a relationship with each other, because I think that's so important in real life, like knowing yourself as a person before getting into a relationship. Despite some of the heavier content that's in it because of things that they have to deal with in the present moment, it's still a rom-com. It's still lighthearted, you're still gonna smile, and the lake and summer setting is just perfect for summer. I mean, the cover is giving summer, the setting is giving summer. Did I just see there's little drawings in here? It's perfect. Just imagine sitting on your porch and reading this with a nice breeze blowing, you know? Now, next book, since we're on the topic of romance, we're just gonna stay on it. We have The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. When I first got back into reading, I absolutely ate up the Off-Campus series by Elle Kennedy, and this is part of a spin-off series that follows Hannah and Garrett's daughter Gigi. Since they are sports romances, she is obviously a hockey player. She's very goal-oriented, she has a one-track mind, she knows what she wants. She wants to be successful, and she wants to be successful by her own means, kind of get out of her father's shadow since he is such a big hockey player. And then the male main character is Luke Ryder, who just goes by Ryder. He's also a hockey player, and he wants an internship or a job like under Garrett Graham coaching. So they of course strike up a little deal to help each other. Ryder's gonna help Gigi kind of get better at hockey so that she can make the Olympic team, I'm pretty sure. And then she's gonna kind of give him a leg up with her dad. This book was one of my 5-star reads last summer, and it remains in its 5-star status. I thought it was really well paced, and it did not have a third act breakup. That stupid misunderstanding shit, I hate that, and it didn't have it, and I was so grateful. And that's, I think, was solidified its 5-star stance for me. Like the last book I mentioned, both of these characters are really goal-oriented. They have things that they need to figure out on their own, and the relationship that grows between them is just kind of the cherry on top. They have to figure out whether or not the draw towards each other can withstand all of the outside pressures and things going on in their own lives. This one is definitely great to get you out of reading slump. The next book is a literary fiction / romance recommendation, and it's Swear on This Life by Renee Carlino. This book follows Emmeline, who is a struggling writer, and she's struggling to write. I'm pretty sure at the beginning of this book it's her roommate that gives her the book, or she somehow finds it, but she starts reading this book by this very famous author, J. Colby, and when she starts reading the book she realizes that it's her own life. It is a book written about her past trauma and what she went through when she was a child. Obviously, since she recognizes everything from her childhood, she realizes that the author is Jace, I'm pretty sure his name is. Yeah, Jace, who was her first love and is the only person who could really know everything that she went through in her past. And it goes between Emmeline's point of view as she's reading it and then the novel itself, which I thought was a really interesting way to write. It's something new, a little refreshing. She just has to relive everything that she went through when she was a child. There are so many things that Renee Carlino touches on, like addiction, loss, heartbreak. So be forewarned, but everything is written about in such a beautiful way, and I thought she did a really good job with the novel within a novel. It may seem like that would get confusing, but it was not hard to follow at all. I don't think this was her first book. No, this isn't her first book, but it's the first book I read by her. I actually need to look up all of her other ones. I don't know why I think this is such like a summer read, but it's on my summer list. Next we have The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Now you might be wondering why I put such a heavy book in my summer reading list, and to that I say be prepared for some of these other book recommendations I have, because for some reason I think it's a good idea to read heart-wrenching books during the summer months. Maybe it's because that way you're not reading the depressing books during winter when there's already like seasonal depression, or maybe it's because I think summer is the perfect time to become a thought daughter. Either way, this is a book you've probably heard about. This book I also read, I think, in middle school. Maybe I read it in high school. But The Bell Jar is such a classic. It's a semi-autobiographical novel about Esther, who is living every social media girlie's dream and got an internship at a fashion magazine in New York City. I mean, who doesn't want that? However, dear Esther kind of starts spiraling and goes through a lot of mental things. And because this book takes place in the 1950s, we get a lot of insight into how females were treated when they were mentally ill during that time period. The book is really about the human psyche and how daunting societal expectations are. We are just taken through Esther's continuous breakdown with such gut-wrenching prose. I mean, Sylvia Plath really is a great writer. It's a critique on feminine roles and pressures, and I mean, it's a seminal work in feminist literature. I don't know what else you want me to say about it. There are some frightening scenes, so be forewarned. Like, look up trigger warnings. I know there's rape in it. There's a lot of things in mental institutions from that time period, like, what is it called? Electro something. But I mean, just simple sentences are written so beautifully. Okay, that was The Bell Jar. Next we have The Glass Castle by Jeanette Walls. Now, when I read this, I picture it like, when you're reading, do you picture the book in your mind like it's playing like a movie? Anyway, when I picture it with lots of saturation for some reason, so that's why I have it on my summer list. But it's a great book nonetheless. This is a memoir, and it is yet another roller coaster ride. I told you to be prepared. This book is about Jeanette Walls and her life and how she had to deal with unstable parents, poverty, neglect. She writes about how she and her family are constantly moving, and she writes about growing up in such an unorthodox and dysfunctional environment. And the book is called The Glass Castle because throughout the whole novel, her father kind of gives her this hope of stability through this glass castle, this mansion, this palace that they were gonna one day build and live in. And despite her circumstances, she's able to grow resilience and an understanding for her parents and the world around her. She's very smart. I mean, if you read this and you get to the end and you see what she went through and what she was able to become. I mean, I don't really think about this book that often, but whenever I see it on my shelf, I think about the last scene and her and what she was looking at and what she's seeing in the last few pages. And even though I am grateful to have grown up in a stable household with a stable childhood, it kind of gives me hope for my future. Yeah, there's another kind of heavier one for you. Another memoir I have that's also pretty well known is Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I absolutely adore this book. I don't read memoirs that often. I think maybe I've read 3 or 4. This one isn't a singular story, one plot, kind of like the Glass Castle is. Instead, it's a collection of essays. It's very witty, it's compelling, and I just thought it was just so fun. It chronicles Alderton's 20s and dealing with friendships, romance, jobs, struggling with identity. I mean, midlife crisis age, you know? As a young woman, reading all of the ups and downs and unexpected turns that she wrote about in such a beautiful way made me really excited for my future and made me think about all the things that could possibly happen to me in my 20s. I just think that is very summer. I mean, she talks about alcohol a lot, partying a lot, so there's that aspect of the like kind of Euro summer. Also, as someone who loves to cook, she puts little recipes in here, like, oh, I just flipped to one. Recipe: apple pizza with can't be arsed ice cream. Serves 4. A recipe given to me by my mom to impress people when they came round to my crap house for crap dinner parties, requiring 0 skill or effort. I mean, that's just, if that doesn't tell you the wittiness of the book, I don't know what does. Anywho, I think if anything, it is about friendships and how important those relationships are in your life, how important those are to kind of keep you steady and keep you standing, in addition to her own self-discovery. Regardless of season, I think every woman should read this book, but I feel like summer is just, it's summer. It's a summer book. Next, we have Piglet by Lottie Hazel. This was another one of my 5-star reads from last year, and it has also maintained its 5-star rating. I absolutely devoured this book. Don't laugh. This is about Piglet, a cookbook editor living just her most fantabulous perfect life in London. She has a successful career, great friends, and she's engaged to the affluent Kit. But then obviously shit has got to go wrong, because of course it does, and she makes decisions that she grapples with for the rest of the book. She struggles with her relationships, whether it be her friendships, her fiance, her relationship with food, her relationship with her family, and she just starts to internally spiral in her pursuits for perfection and maintaining the life that she has worked so hard to build. It is sharp, it's witty, it is absolutely 100% honest, and that was my favorite thing about this. When you're reading it, it's like you're absolutely in her head, nothing is censored, you're just getting her thoughts 100% of the time, and I really enjoyed that. The descriptions in this book are just chef's kiss, and the fact that this is Lottie Hazel's first book is just absolutely astounding to me. She is just ingenious in the way that she writes about and explores a woman's mind and how control and self-destruction can be masked by simple things like a smile. This next book is just so summer to me because of its gossipiness. I'm sure you've all heard of it before, but it's The 7 Husbands. This book explores familial and friendship bonds in just such a juicy way. In this book, Evelyn Hugo chooses random reporter Monique to sit in and listen as Evelyn recounts her scandalous, glamorous life. She had a flashy job in the spotlight because she was an actress. She talks about her job, her friendships, her forbidden loves. There's lots of juicy commentary, and the fact that Evelyn is such a complex character makes you question whether or not she's a heroine, whether or not she's a good person, which I think is what makes a book really, really good, when you kind of have that anti-hero. That's my favorite. As you read, you also get a bit of a Monique storyline, because a big question throughout the novel is why Monique? Why did Evelyn choose this seemingly irrelevant person to write the story of the biggest Hollywood star? Overall, I'm pretty sure everybody that has read this has really enjoyed it. I know all of my friends that I've recommended it to have really enjoyed it. It's a bittersweet contemporary read, but I still think it's perfect for summer. Now for a bit of a classic, we have Brideshead Revisited by Evelyn Waugh. Now this is the book that Saltburn was lightly based off of, and while I think that Saltburn is more of a cusp of autumn watch, a early September type of film, I think that Brideshead is perfect for summer. I mean, look at that cover. This is a book about English aristocracy, just as Saltburn is, and it follows Charles, who becomes entwined with the Flight family who lives at Brideshead. We follow the different relationships that Charles makes with the different members of the family, but we mainly follow his relationships with the troubled and very privileged Sebastian and his sister Julia. Basically, all of the characters are self-destructive, but that's what makes the book interesting. Again, it's kind of that anti-hero. Nobody is really that 100% likable. Since it is a classic, it is written in the way that it was written. I mean, when was this written? 1944, 1945. Somewhere around there. I mean, this is the 75th anniversary edition. The writing is a bit older, but the sarcastic and lonely tone of the characters and the clever way that the house itself is described and is characterized makes the book worth reading. At times it is odd, but it is a really good read. Next, I have two Greek mythology retellings. One is actually on my shelf. First, we have Circe by Madeline Miller. I absolutely adored this book. Madeline Miller also wrote The Song of Achilles, which I think is also a great read, but I prefer Circe to Song of Achilles. It follows Circe, who is the daughter of Helios, who is the sun god, and she gets banished to an island after Zeus discovers that she possesses powers of witchcraft, because she's a woman and of course that would happen. Since she lives on this deserted island, she's obviously in isolation. She takes that time to teach herself witchcraft and like hone her abilities as the ocean and the sea keep bringing visitors to her island. And so some of these visitors are good visitors and she makes friends with them. Some of these visitors are bad visitors and she kind of gets on their bad side. The book explores the trials and tribulations of a woman alone, what it means to be a powerful woman standing by herself, this autonomous figure. You see her tenacity through visitor after visitor after visitor, and as her life goes on and she loses the people that she loves and the things that she has come to covet. Some people did not like this book as much as Song of Achilles, and some people just didn't like it at all. I really enjoyed Circe, and I think that it is a really good summer read because of the thought daughteriness, but also because it's on an island. Like, come on. The next Greek mythology retelling is also on my shelf, and that is Atalanta by Jennifer Saint. Jennifer Saint also wrote other Greek mythology retellings, like I'm pretty sure she wrote Hera, which I have not read, and Ariadne, which is about the Princess of Crete. This one I chose for today though. It is another feminist retelling. Atalanta was born a princess. I forget to which kingdom or which island, but because she was the firstborn and she was a girl, she is left on a mountain to die. She obviously survives and is raised by a bear. I don't know, Greek mythology. This bear is under the watch of Artemis, the goddess of the hunt. Later on, Artemis kind of adopts Atalanta into her warrior women tribe of nymphs, and Atalanta kind of grows up with Artemis as a mentor and these nymphs as her mentors, learning about the different adventures Artemis has and starting to kind of want that for herself. When the Argonauts go on a quest for the Golden Fleece, which if you don't know that story, it's about Jason and the Argonauts. I don't know, look it up. Atalanta decides that she wants to go and become one of the Argonauts and bring glory to Artemis's name. All in all, she's just a girl looking for some adventure, and that is just so summer. Now, the last book I'm going to talk about is The Fury by Alex Michaelides. We are ending in the Mediterranean. I first read this book when it came out. I'm pretty sure it was the beginning of 2024. Me and my grandparents love Alex Michaelides. The Silent Patient, The Maidens, so good. So of course when this came out I had to read it. The Fury is broken up into parts by acts, like a play, because one of the characters, Laura, or Lana, I think it's Lana Farrar. She is a reclusive ex-movie star, but then also it's narrated by Eliot, who is a playwright. If you've read any of his other books, you know he writes psychological thrillers. And this one is set on a private, secluded Greek island. Lana ends up inviting some of her friends for a little getaway to the island, and because it's of course a secluded island, something happens, someone is found dead, and everyone is trapped. It's sort of Secret History-esque, but Secret History is more fall. This one is summer. But it's Secret History-esque in the way that it's about obsession and the lines between reality, performance, and manipulation. It's more of a whodunit than a whodunit, and it's more plot heavy than character heavy, which I didn't mind because it is a psychological thriller. It wasn't my favorite of his books, but I still really liked it, or else I wouldn't be recommending it to you. And I don't really listen to audiobooks, but I feel like this one for some reason would be a really, really good audiobook. If you need a good summer psychological thriller, this one, you should read this one. Okay, that was all I had for you guys. Now, this is not all of the books that I could have put on this list because there are just so many to talk about, and I could talk about books for probably hours on end. I don't know how long I've been talking on here, probably a long ass time. Let me know if you want more recommendations or just book content in general, because again, I could talk about books for a long time. I have so many. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.